What is going on, you guys? My name is Cody Thixton, and this is Interesting Podcast. Coming to you guys on June 9th, 2023 for episode 59, where today we have another very, very special guest. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Let's get right into this. And now, ladies and gentlemen, KRIS Brady.
Yo, what's going on, man?
How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I just got done dealing with track meet for my son, but that's why I'm in the car.
Oh no, it's all good, man. Thank you for actually joining us here today. It's freaking awesome to sit down with you.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So maybe for all the people that don't know you, maybe you can introduce your name and where you're from and how long you've been in pro wrestling.
Oh man, that's easy. Nah, my name is KRIS Brady. I go by everybody's favorite homeboy. I'm from Tacoma, Washington. Born and raised, really. I've been wrestling now for about 3.5 years, give or take, maybe four. It's been a while. But yeah, that's basically just me, father, husband, and wrestler, man, trying to make it like everybody else is.
That is freaking awesome, man. So like where were you actually officially trained at?
So I began training in 2000, about 2000, like right around the beginning of 2017, late 2016. Wait, no, it was 2018. 2018. Uh, I went out to Las Vegas. I found a wrestling school out there, Snake Pit, and it was ran by Sinn, Bodhi, D'Lo Brown, and Jake the Snake. I started training there for a couple months. Things didn't work out financially for me because I wasn't doing the right things, and I eventually moved back in to Washington, and then I got recalled back in the Army. Tried the Vegas thing again. It didn't work out again, unfortunately, and I came back up to Washington and found the Dragonflex Dojo, and then from there it was kind of just everything kind of started to fall into place.
That is freaking awesome. That is really awesome. Yeah, I had read that you were trained by Sim Bodhi and Jake the Snake Roberts. So like, what was your first interaction with Jake the Snake? Did you get to talk
So,
to him very much?
so I didn't get to talk to him a lot. I think he was still doing those signings and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, he wasn't really around as much as one would think.
Hmm.
Uh, but when he wasn't there was a lot of lessons to be learned. Very fun to be around. Sin Bodhi was the one that really taught me a lot. Taught me how to bump, run the ropes, psychology. Um, but again, like I wasn't around long enough to get the full aspect of it. You know what I mean? The first iteration, I was there for 6 months, and then if that, and then I just wasn't doing the right things. Then I got called back in the Army, and I went back again, and I was only there for 3 or 4 months, and then once I came back to Washington is when I really started to like get the gist of it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah. So you were just touching on being in the Army. That was something I wanted to ask you. So like, how long have you served in the Army?
About 6 years.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for what you do, man. I really appreciate it. So like, where were you stationed at?
So I was first stationed at Fort Lewis up here in Washington, and then after I got out, I got stationed at Fort Leavenworth in Kansas.
Wow,
Yeah, a long
crazy.
way from home.
Yeah. Yeah. So like how is that traveling and whatnot? Because like you got to be a really busy man, and it's like how do you manage like all of your travel and whatnot?
You talking about just in wrestling or just like in like the Army side?
Like wrestling, yeah.
So wrestling wise, like now, like a couple months ago, like I was traveling just to get kind of noticed. What we all do. We shake hands. We want to help set up, meet people, interact with other individuals and other promotions. And I was doing that, but I was doing mostly out here. So I was trying to become the best version of myself so that when a time came for a big show, they would know who I was. You know what I mean? So I was doing, when I first started, I was doing the stuff with Matt Beck, and then I did a wax show, and then I got on Relentless, and then I started, doing those shows, building myself up. So when the opportunity came to start traveling, people would know who I was. Traveling for me and like really making it didn't really start until December of
Mm.
last year, like a couple months ago.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I was doing a little bit of the big shows here and there. I went and did a thing over with Restival in Boston. Uh, Nonstop helping, which is what you're supposed to do. We all love this business, cleaning the ropes, helping set up. First one there, last one gone, and I think that really put everybody on notice that hey, this kid really wants it. He wants to be in the ring, but he also, he's willing to put in the work. When
Yeah.
I got back from Restival, man, it was just all go, man. For me, at least on my end, that's when Rosen popped up. That's when uh, Roseland, the SCI tournament, the Cascadia Cup, and just all these big opportunities. And I'm getting ready to go to Texas here soon. That hasn't been out yet, but whatever. We'll give you a little scoop. But I got a lot of fun stuff coming up. You know what I mean? And it's all because I put in the work and have done what I needed to do to get these opportunities.
Yeah. That is freaking awesome, man. Yeah, I know. I had kind of talked with Drexel, and he was talking about how there's this difference when somebody like, yeah, it's okay to just want to be a wrestler around your local area and whatnot, but like if you really, really want to make it, like you have to extend yourself out there and really try to reach out to other companies and do what you need to do. So it's like, how do you go about reaching out to other companies and whatnot?
So Drexel's always been a lot of help for me, man. Drexel's the first one that if he'll tell you like I don't want you here, and not in a bad way. It's like he wants us to be better versions of ourselves. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Uh, I just message promotions and go, hey, like this is who I am. Here's the product I can bring to your promotion, and it's like that. I mean, like I said, a lot of stuff before Restival or before these opportunities came up, I get left on red like everybody else. You know what I mean? That just happens.
Hmm.
Um, but now I feel like I'm starting to build myself up to the point where now everybody's like, oh, we know who he is. We
Yeah.
we know what he does. Like I was told by somebody, two people actually, when I like about a year ago or in September, um, he told me, I was like, hey, I would love to come out to, your state to wrestle. And I was always told if you're not the top 10 in your own state, why would anybody else book you if all your home promotions aren't booking you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me. It was like, okay, well, I need to be the best version of myself I can be here, and then everybody else I can worry about that later because everybody has a different road to success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, I'm getting to that point now where I can just message places and go, hey, this is what I am. And even if I don't get booked, I at least get a message back. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah.
Just
Yeah. So
always remaining humble, dude. Always putting the work in, staying positive. Being a good brother backstage, a good person, and just keeping your head held high. And when you get these opportunities, take advantage of them. Really soak in the knowledge.
yeah. Yeah. That was something I wanted to ask you about that I found really interesting was I had talked with Jack Hammer, and he had kind of talked about pro wrestling etiquette, and like he didn't like really dive into it. So I was just wondering if you can kind of maybe expand for people on exactly what the pro wrestling etiquette is.
I, I mean, I look at it more as like general etiquette. Like you're not gonna, you don't want to be rude to people. Like, I mean, we all have this thing where everybody has to shake hands, right? I mean, but that's just a respect thing, like shaking hands, saying thank you, being there first, helping set up, helping tear down. If somebody needs a ride to the airport, giving them a ride to the airport. If somebody needs to get picked up and you're driving right past them, you guys are going to the same spot, like, why
Mm.
wouldn't you pick them up? Just being respectful, being somebody that everybody can work with. Like, you don't want to be that guy backstage where everybody's like, oh, that guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't, and even in regular life, you don't want to be that. Even in your normal work, right? You don't want to show up to work one day and go, "Oh man, the boss is in." Good lord, like
Yeah.
you don't want that. So I mean, I look at wrestling etiquette as just being a good person, man. Whether, like I said, it's picking up people or helping set up or whatever it is that's needed to be done. You just do it with a smile on your face and push forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have this question. So I've been cooking for like 8 years now, right? And it seems like whenever I go into a new kitchen, I now have like enough experience that like they don't train me. They're just gonna just throw me in and be like, okay, make
Right.
me a soup, you know. And so it's like how is that as like a pro wrestler and going to all of these different companies and like like do they just kind of just like throw you to the wolves a little bit and it's just like all right, well, like back up what you're saying, you know what I mean?
I guess it really just depends on the promotion and what they're trying to push.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? There's some places where, so, like PWG, you're not going to come into PWG and like they're going to tell you like, oh, well, we don't really know much. If you're on that level, like go out there and kill it and have fun. That are storyline driven. You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, this is what we want to get across to the audience and the fans, and this is what we want you to do. If
Hmm.
you've been in wrestling a while, they're gonna obviously just put you out there and say, hey, go have fun. But I mean, if you're new coming up and you're training and it's your first couple matches, really, you know what I mean? They're gonna tell you like, hey, you can't do this because, or not, you can't do this, but hey, I would not do that, or I would do it this way, or I would, maybe come up with a different way. Even me, we all still do that to each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, well, that's cool, but like, why did you do that? You could have did it this way.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But it's wrestling's an art form. You know what I mean? We're all trying to paint our own picture on the canvas.
Yeah. Yeah. So to kind of like go along with that, so like how do you guys go about, I guess, like earning your stripes in pro wrestling?
See, I don't know nothing about that. It's like, uh, earning your stripes, man. I don't. I don't know how to answer that because I mean I look at the veterans, obviously, like the Drexels, the Funny Bones, the people that you interact with on a weekly basis at these shows. Like they've just always been that person there. They're always somebody that's on the show. So I mean I would assume they earn their stripes, but I don't know how to talk about that because I mean I haven't earned mine. You know what I mean? I'm not at that level yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still just happy to be here and just having fun doing what I love to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what about when like it comes to like just training? Like how do you, I guess, like garner respect when even just being around the local area?
How do you get respect in the local area?
Hmm.
Man, that's another hard one because I don't know. I just do what I do, and it's just I'm just we all know each other. You know what I mean? So I would assume respect is in the area is just showing up and getting on all these shows and showing out and like being the one where everybody looks at and goes, I want to be like that guy. I
Yeah.
want to be that person. I want to be on all these shows and somebody that's in the main event of the cards. And even I guess like the higher you up you get on the cards and you stay on in that higher echelon of like the local shows, I feel like the respect is there because they wouldn't be giving you those opportunities if you weren't doing the right things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I don't know, man. That's about pretty much as far as I can go with that. I don't know.
No.
I'm just so used to seeing Vinny Massaro or Funny Bone or Drexel or the Blanchards or Dave Turner and Chris Ross and Ricky and Eddie and like I'm so used to seeing them that I know their respect is there. I'm just not up to that
Mhm.
echelon yet in the local area. I'm definitely somebody where everybody wants on their cards because I'm on all the shows, you know what I'm saying, and I'm respectful and I'm humble about it. Um, but it takes time. I would.
Okay. Interesting, man. Really interesting. So, you had just like kind of talked about Drexel, and I know when I was interviewing him, he didn't like really like cursing on the air just because of his radio experience
Yep.
and whatnot. But he did say that when he does have to do his backstage speeches, he can get pretty verbal. So like how is it exactly like sitting there and having him coordinate a locker room speech?
Man. he'll just tell you like, here's what we want. And if people are talking, obviously and interrupting, then he'll get loud. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody. I was in the military long enough to realize like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're gonna do, and then you hear all the chatter in the background. It's like, hey, calm the fuck or calm down and let's focus. And then once it's done, it's back to normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He gets pretty loud, man.
Yeah. That is so funny. So, do you mind me asking like what your job title was in the army?
I was a supply sergeant.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you had to make sure that obviously all of like the inventory or
Right.
everything
All
was.
the inventory, all the weapons, the arms room, all that stuff was accounted for. Obviously, handing it out to the soldiers when they needed it. I was reserves when I first joined, and then I went AGR. So as an E4, I was active duty in a reserve unit. So I was the only full time soldier for 2 medical units. So it was just me. So I did everything. I made sure when they came in after their 1 weekend a month, when they came in for their 1 weekend a month, I kind of, stepped back and let everybody else do their stuff because I'm there Monday through Friday. But Monday through Friday, I was getting all the operations and stuff ready for what they were going to do at their battle assembly when they showed up. Everybody in my unit, they were either under enlisted or they were all officers. So
Hmm.
it was either colonels and, full birds and lieutenants and commanders and all that, or it was a bunch of privates to specialists and like a couple NCOs. Um, but I was in charge of the unit on the day-to-day operations.
Wow. That's really freaking crazy, man.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
it was fun stuff. And then you realize, man, like, you know, I'm an E4. Nobody really wants to listen to me, but I'm active duty, but I want to wrestle. But like, you know what I'm saying? It was a lose-lose to me. I liked it. I enjoyed my time in, but at the same time, it was like, this isn't what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there ever any other pro wrestling fans in the army?
Uh, I mean, I'm sure there were fans like of the old stuff, but nobody really talked about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
in the military was so gung ho on like, oh, we got to get deployed, or we got to go here, we got to do this, we got to do this. Then nobody really talked.
Yeah.
At least in my unit.
That's crazy.
Or they would
Yeah.
tell me about the times where Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant, and I was like, all right, that's all they know. Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Randy Orton.
Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. So, do you have any pretty cool like Vegas stories that you can tell us?
Yeah. Involving like the school and stuff.
Just in general, just traveling to Vegas, where it's like just a memory that can kind of just come
I
to
remember
mind
one
whenever you.
time. So when I first started, we all grew up watching wrestling. So like I met Sinn, but like I put two and two that he was Kazarni. It took me a minute, but like I knew it. And then like I went to the bathroom one time and I came out, and all of a sudden I come out and Sabu was just sitting on the chair. And I had to go back in the bathroom. I'm like, hi, Sabu, just like sitting in the chair. All right. So I just walked back out. Or training with Stephen Bonner. You know what I mean? Um, that was always a fun time. Meeting people you watched on TV, Kevin Sullivan, or picking him up from the airport. It's like I wanted to be that guy that picked him up. Um, but like, or traveling with Simon Gotch and having him in the car and just chatting it up about all the stuff in the pro wrestling scene. Um, Jake the Snake one time came in to train with us, told us all to do this like do a run like a spot, and he says I'll be right back. 20 minutes later, we're like, yo, what, are we still doing this? We all go walk outside. He'd already left. He hopped in his car. He was gone. Like, what? But, like, there's always fun stories, man. Like, Vegas was fun. Being around so many people that you grew up watching on TV and, like, getting to really pick their brain was always interesting. And with me being so new when I was in Vegas, it was always fun because it was like, oh, man, who am I going to see next? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, so there's obviously like this, I guess, want when it comes to pro wrestlers and wanting to go to like other countries and kind of expand. Like, is there a specific country that you think would be really cool to perform in? I can't hear you. I apologize. Mm-mm.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yeah.
My headphones like shut off on me.
Oh no, it's good.
I want to go to Canada. I'm working on getting my enhancement right now so that I can, start traveling up there because it's not too far away from the Washington area.
Hmm.
Um, Mexico, I really want to do Mexico. Um, Puerto Rico. I mean, there's so many places I haven't gone to yet. So many places I
Yeah.
haven't wrestled. But like my ultimate goal, obviously, is to get signed, or at least just to be. I always told myself I never got signed. I at least want to wrestle on TV one time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just want to do it once. If it
Hmm.
never happens, and God doesn't set that out for me, and I just am a guy that wrestles all the names and like I'm all over the place, that's cool. Like I'm okay with that. I just want to do it one time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like if it happens, great. But like, yeah, there's a lot of places I want to go. But I'm just now starting to build my name. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like before December, nobody, like I said, everybody knew me, but like nobody really knew about me. And then once I came back, it was like everything was on go. You know what I mean? I'm just now starting to kind of get my name out there. So who knows what the future holds?
Yeah. Yeah. That is so cool. So I noticed on YouTube that you were able to compete against the Midnight Heat in Defy. Yeah. So like how is it working, alongside like the Midnight Heat and especially being at Defy?
Defy is something that I've always wanted to do.
Hmm.
Uh, I did their shows at like the Pride festivals and stuff. And that's a lot of fun. Working with Defy. That event just felt special and different. You know what I mean? I've never stepped into Washington Hall. I have as like to help, but like I've never been on their big shows, and I don't know if I'm on their radar yet, or I don't know what's going on because you never know what the future holds. Like I said, you can't wrestle for everybody. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, but being able to step in there with Ricky and Eddie and like you know that whole team was amazing. There was so much knowledge because like the Midnight Heat, bro, they've been around for a minute
Hmm.
and they just know so much. And just being able to pick their brains, before going out or listening to them call the match or whatever they wanted to do, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there maybe anything that like Ethan HD had maybe told you that like really resonated with you?
Honestly, no.
No.
He taught me more at Roseland.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Roseland was the first time I got to work with Ethan.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where I was kind of like listening to him. Defy, he didn't, because at Roseland he just, you have those special moments where like if you watch the shows, I'm hugging Jaden, we're talking. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's it was finally my moment to like show what I can do. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
have people see that I can work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get more knowledge at Defy from Eddie and Ricky and everybody else on that side. There with Ethan, it was more at Roseland, so not really a whole lot of info, but just like I said, they're veterans. So when you listen
Hmm.
to these people call the matches, I just sat there and listened, and they already know what I do. I dance and I hit a backflip and I hit the Dougie and I'll do my thing, but
Hmm.
they teach me where to put those spots in accordingly, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were just talking about kind of like dancing around. Like, was there a really funny fan interaction that you've had before where it just kind of like almost made you start laughing?
With a fan,
Yeah.
not yet. There hasn't been a moment yet that has really like made me start laughing. I mean, yeah, dude, not yet. I don't think so. Not at the moment. No. I mean, there's times where like I'll be getting like I wrestled Drexel in a hardcore match, and like or I'm on the ropes or whatever, and a fan like is so close to me, you'll hear them and they'll look at you and go, "Oh, you're not so hardcore now, are you, homeboy?" And it's just like in your head, you're like, "What?" You kind of have to laugh because you can hear what they're saying.
Mhm.
But I haven't had an interaction yet where like I've been wrestling and somebody has said something to where I stopped and like acknowledged them in a sense.
Mhm. Interesting. So, here's a question. So, I know that you had faced Funny Bone in PAL Pro Wrestling, you
Yeah,
know, and you had kind of talked earlier about how some places are going to be more storyline driven as compared to other places, and
right.
so it's like, how do you go about coordinating a match when somebody does, have certain ideas? Like, do you just like to just throw things back together and see what you guys can come up with?
That was me keeping my mouth shut and listening.
Hmm?
That was that whole match.
Yeah.
It was, "Hey, Funny Bone, like, what do you want to do?" And it was, "Well, here you can do this and this and this, and this is where you're gonna come in." And like that was me just in the ring with my mouth shut. And if you watch it back, you'll see it's just me paying attention. It's
Mhm.
just me listening. There were moments where like he knows what I do, but at the same time, Funny Bone's been doing this so long, like I I trust him to get me over. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows
Yeah.
how to do that. Um, that was the match where I really felt like was my turning point in this area.
Mhm.
That was the match that set everything off.
Yeah. That
Um,
is.
yeah, he beat the hell out of me for like 20 minutes.
So how is it being trained, and like you get like the basis of what you need to do as far as move sets go, but then you also have to be able to do those same moves with different people's body styles, or height
Right.
differences and whatnot. So how is it like coordinating where you go from somebody that maybe is a little bit shorter to somebody that is a little bit taller, a little bit heavier? How do you go about that?
I guess it just everybody is trained to know these moves. Like everybody that trains knows how to do or take a hip toss.
Hmm.
Everybody knows how to, if you're capable, knows how to do or take a leapfrog or a body slam or all that stuff. But I'm not gonna body slam somebody who's 6'6" and 350 pounds unless it makes sense.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or we make it a spot like William Regal and Big Show. You remember the spot where he caught him and he fell off the ropes and landed on him in the pin?
Mm-mm.
Like, there's a really funny spot where like William was like mess with him, boom, 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 hits him. I think it was with the knuckles. Hits him with the knuckles. Big Show bounces off the ropes, and like Regal's like no, 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 and Big Show falls on top of him, and that was the finish.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you find your ways to work around people that are either bigger than you or smaller than you. Um, if I'm working somebody smaller than me, I can do those fun stuff because like I know I can lift them, and I know, I'm little enough to where somebody who's a little smaller than me still looks believable. You know what I mean? But if I'm working with Flex, for instance, like he's a monster compared to me, so like, or Caden Cassidy, they can throw me around all day long, but I'll find different ways to do that same thing to them, but just in a more comedy way. Like if I'm trying to get Caden on the ground, instead of body slamming him, I'll be behind him and let him trip over me. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
those are just there's different ways to go around it with different sizes and different shapes. If that answers your question.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. So here's another thing that I kind of notice when it comes to pro wrestling that I find really interesting is at the end of matches when people go for pins after the 3 count, you can kind of see them kind of like whisper something to the other wrestler. Is that like a more just standard thing to do to like maybe like thank your opponent, or like what exactly do you guys go through when it comes to that?
I don't know, some kayfabe stuff. I just like to keep kayfabe.
Yeah.
I'm saying so. Skip that question.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, because you just never know, man. I don't know. There's some stuff that I think belongs in the ring
Yeah.
and not to everybody's knowledge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
No, totally fine. Totally fine. So, Do you mind me asking about how it is like calling audibles in a match when like you go in to do something and then maybe something mishaps and then you have to immediately come up with something else to do?
I mean, really, it's just listening to the crowd. Like, you talking about like an injury or something?
It could be like an injury or maybe like, you just maybe mishap on like your movement around the ring and then you have to quickly adjust it and
So, like, quickly adjusting stuff on the fly for me is like I'm in the middle with it because like there's times where like somebody gets injured, you take that second, you do what you got to do with the crowd, and you hope that in that time frame, like either a ref comes up to you or something comes up to you, so you can say, hey, like, is he okay? Or like, hey, like, do this movement or do this, and then turn around and hopefully they relayed that message. It, I mean, I haven't really had too much calling it in the ring like audibles,
hmm,
thankfully. But from what I've seen, like others do in those situations, it just really just depends on what the audible is.
yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
somebody's injured, you're not going to go attack them. You're going to sell to the crowd and do what you got to do, and then hopefully he's either healed, and if he's not, you do whatever you can safely, and then you finish the match or something like that.
Hmm. Very, very interesting. So I've noticed that you have a really, really good moonsault. And like
But
when you jump from the second rope to the top and then just immediately able to just bounce right off is insane. So how do you go about all of your high flying moves?
so I've always been able to do backflips. Um, it first started with the middle rope, and then I was like, nah, I can do the Chris Daniels. I can do the DME. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll go middle to top. And nobody in this area was doing it. At least from
Mhm.
my knowledge, like nobody was using it as a finish. So I was like, oh, that's it. Um, like a lot of that stuff, you just either have it or you don't, or you learn. You learn how to do it. Um, but like I've always been able to do backflips. I've always, even since I was little, I've been like, I would run in the grass and do cartwheels and moonsaults and all kinds of crazy stuff off tables or fences or all that stuff. Like I said, I've always wanted to be a wrestler. So when you grow up watching wrestling, I grew up in my head going, "Oh, I can run the ropes." You know what I'm saying? I can bump. Oh, I want to go through the table, or I can, playing with, because I didn't have brothers, but like playing with like stuffed animals or anything like that, like giving them suplexes and stuff. Once you get to a certain age, you start watching. You're like, "Oh, he's hooking right here," and you know what I'm saying? Like you start
Yeah.
to realize those movements. But man, flips, they're just fun to me, man. I just love doing the backflip. I get a lot of compliments on it. Um, I rarely, it's a move that I can do doesn't that I won't mess up. You know what I mean? For the most part,
Mhm.
and it's beautiful. So like, why change it? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. That is so interesting. So do you have any major inspirations of some major stars or do you just go out and just try and do
So
your
my inspiration, like on my gimmick and like me as a child, were like Rey Mysterio,
Mhm.
um, Scotty 2 Hottie, 3 count. Man, 3 count was great. R-Truth when he was K Quick. Um, that was my inspiration. The whole like the whole coming out and dancing and being the goof, but like still being able to go was always what I loved. Rey Mysterio masked was always good to me, but Rey Mysterio when he became unmasked and he had the eyebrow ring and the overalls and the Chuck Taylors on or the night whatever he was wearing and the FUBU, like that was always cool to me because like I was like, oh man, that's what I want to do. Like I want to come out just living my best life and going high flying, and that's really where a lot of my inspiration comes on my character now. A lot of it's Scotty 2 Hottie, but a lot of it's 1999, like that the Rey Mysterio without the mask. Uh, that's why I wear the overalls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I came out of Roseland with the horns on my head and the overalls all red and white. So those are just a little bit of who I try to pick after.
That is really, really cool. I was actually going to ask you about exactly how you came up with the whole overalls, because I know you have like multiple versions of
Right.
them. So like, how do you get all of those done, or like when did it come where you were like, okay, I'm just going to attach to this, and this is what I'm going to ride with.
So I was watching a lot of people wear gear, and I was like, I want to be different. I
Mhm.
want to just stand out just a little bit. And then I started watching people's gear, and I was like, oh, not everything's similar, but nobody's wearing overalls. And I saw a pair of Carhartts, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And then it's like, maybe I can get them airbrushed. And I know a guy that works in Tacoma that does airbrushing, so I took him to him, and I was like, I'm gonna go by everybody's favorite homeboy, and I'm gonna just come out. I'm gonna tweak my voice a little bit like this, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna put DMX on cuss, and I'm gonna start turning up. And I was like, this is just me on 10, because I feel like the best iteration of who you are as a character is really just you turned up. Uh,
Mhm.
so I went and got him spray painted. I threw him on. I put the bandana on forward. I put DMX on it. When I walked into training, everybody turned their heads and they were like, there it is. And then
Yeah.
over time, like you start tweaking it and like, you start coming up with, because at first it was just like, oh shit, what up, cuz? And then it turned to like, oh, I can really be a fan everywhere, because everybody will love me, because I can just come out and dance and have a good time and like let the crowd really let loose and forget about whatever's going on at home, and just when my music plays, and this is everywhere. Like I never stepped foot in a prestige ring. The minute DMX hit and I came out and I started hitting the Dougie, the crowd was up. You know what I'm saying? It all starts from that beginning. Um, but that's really what inspires the gimmick, man. I just wanted to be something that was me, uh, that I physically could do, take it and run with it, and just be a fan favorite all over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that is really freaking cool, man. Before we actually end up shutting everything down, I just want to ask you kind of what professional wrestling means to you every time you go out into the ring. Like how special is it to you to be able to perform?
It means the world to me, man. I grew up fine. I grew up in a good household, like all that. But like, if there was no wrestling, there'd be no me. You know what I mean? Like every Monday it was on. I had all the tapes. I had all the action figures and the posters, and I was at WrestleMania 19 winning the Rock challenge, when you had to take the microphone and tell pretend to be the Rock. Like I won that. Like I was at all the shows when they were close by. I was the guy that was behind the arena trying to get autographs and going up to the AT&T store to get autographs. Like that's who I was. You know what I mean? Without that, there is no me. And now that I'm in it, uh, I didn't start. I didn't start my training the right way. I wanted to think I was better than everybody, and I just didn't have a good attitude. And then COVID hit, and now that I'm getting the second chance of like changing my outlook on life and just realizing that life is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? You're getting to do what you love to do, enjoy it. And now that I'm getting all these opportunities and I'm showing up places, it means the world to me, because I can show the same thing that was shown to me when I was a kid, that if you have something and you dream of being anything you want to be, like it can happen. You just got to put the work in, stay humble, keep your head up, mouth shut, and just enjoy the ride. You know what I'm saying? Every time I step foot in that ring, I look at little kids that are dancing, with me, and it's like, man, that was me when I was that age. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to give back to other people, other fans, whether it's kids or adults, it's a really cool feeling, man. It means the world to me, and uh, I don't take that lightly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that is freaking awesome, man. Well, I just want to thank you a lot for allowing me to sit down and just talk with you for a little while and get a little insight into who KRIS Brady is.
Right, of course. And I appreciate you having me on, man. It was a blast, dude. I enjoyed it.
All right, man. Well, I hope that you have a very good night, and I'll catch you later.
You too, man. Thank you.
Bye. All right, you guys. So that was Interesting's podcast interview with KRIS Brady. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And remember, now, June 14th, Interesting Podcast is going to be interviewing Amira. This is going to be another awesome wrestler interview you guys are not going to want to miss. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you guys get notified when we go live.